How's it going, guys? Today I'm going to show you what it's like to drive the all-new Durango Hellcat Jailbreak from a first-person point of view. Under the hood is a 6.2-liter supercharged V8 making 710 horsepower and 645 pound-feet of torque. That's good to sprint this car from 0 to 60 miles an hour in 3.5 seconds and onto the quarter mile in under 12, all while seating 7 people comfortably. It's also the most powerful internal combustion engine SUV ever made. Think of the Jailbreak as an infinitely customizable Hellcat. In fact, there are over 6 million different configurations possible, with 6 exterior color options, 6 wheel finishes to choose from, different seat belts. There's even 6 different badge options to choose from. Look, this one is finished in awesome yellow. Now it's fitted with 20-inch wheels as standard, awesome Brembo brakes that slow this thing from 60 miles an hour down to 0 in just 103 feet. Coming around to the back, you can configure your Durango Hellcat Jailbreak in either a 5, 6, or 7-seat layout. This one here is finished in a 5-seat layout, so you've got tons of storage space in the back. Honestly, a ridiculous amount of storage space, which is really, really cool. Taking a look at the second row seating, tons of legroom and headroom. You've got climate controls up here on the roof as well, which is pretty cool. Down here, you've got some vents as well as power outlets. Now let's hop into the front seat. The interior has remained mostly unchanged since the launch of the Durango and the Charger back in 2011. I wish there was a slight update, but honestly, the materials in here and the way they've dressed up basically the same interior feels so much more premium than before. It actually seems really fitting. It just feels so classic Dodge. So I'm actually not disappointed that the interior is roughly the same. Alcantara steering wheel, paddles mounted on the 8-speed automatic ZF transmission. I love the forged carbon fiber, which is throughout the entire vehicle. It looks super high-end and premium. There are a multitude of seat color options to choose from, as well as seatbelt colors. The seats are super comfortable and supportive. To shift it into drive, we've got this lever here. You can also switch different manual modes there as well. Really nicely positioned wireless charger right here. So if you have your phone, you can actually see it if you're using navigation, although I will say the navigation works really well on the screen. Now we have customizable driving modes we can choose from. If we go down to the SRT button here, press and hold, we can choose between track, sport, auto, snow, and tow mode. You can even add a towing package for a towing capability of 8,700 pounds. For a 710 horsepower SUV, that's actually fantastic. So if we go over into track mode, you can see the transmission, the paddle shifters, the all-wheel drive. This is standard all-wheel drive, all go into track mode, but you can even do a customizable mode where you can edit the custom setup and then you can change everything right there. Now, if you want to go into launch control, which of course we'll do later on in the video, you press and hold this launch button. Now up on the screen, it says apply full throttle after you press the brake down, and then we'll release the brake and launch this thing from 60 in 3.5 seconds. All right, let's take it out on the road. Out on the road in the Durango Hellcat Jailbreak, let's go ahead and put it into track mode because we've got a nice canyon section coming up here. And see how this thing is like through the corners. Man, the supercharger whine is so epic. Despite being a big SUV, the 710 horsepower absolutely hauls the Durango. Wow. And the gearbox is instantaneous. This 8-speed ZF unit is fantastic. The downshifts, the upshifts are instantaneous, way quicker than you'd expect for an SUV, and quicker than some sports cars, honestly. Now in track mode, the suspension stiffens up a bit, but it's still very compliant over bumps without really much body roll at all. I mean, obviously you've got a higher center of gravity than a low sports car, but even still, it takes the corners very, very well. And then you've got so much confidence with those massive Brembo brakes. I think what shocked me about the Durango Hellcat the most is how nice the steering is. The initial turn in, the weight of the steering feels phenomenal to me. And the suspension rides over bumps really nicely as well. To activate launch control, go ahead and click the launch button, floor the accelerator, and release the brake. This thing absolutely rips, and it just keeps pulling and pulling and pulling as the speeds climb. What a vehicle. All right, so now, obviously, not all the time are you gonna be driving it in track mode. I probably would, but the automatic mode is really nice because that way, when you're driving normally, it relaxes the suspension and the steering, makes it very, very comfortable. But then when it understands that you're trying to pick up the pace, it firms everything up, giving you extra confidence in the tight, twisty roads. But man, this is the perfect road trip car. We're out here for the Wind Concours, SEMA, as well as reviewing this vehicle. And I drove out from Los Angeles, and this is honestly the perfect vehicle to road trip from LA to Vegas. It's about 6 hours if there's traffic. And then if you got some free time when you're in Vegas and you want to blast out into Death Valley and some cool twisty roads, you can still do that in this. You don't need a small, nimble sports car to absolutely eat up the pavement. All right, how about another launch control? Go ahead, click the launch button, floor the brake, floor the gas, and off we go. Wow. The crazy part is, this is actually the fastest Hellcat variant to 60 miles an hour, more than the Charger or the Challenger. Those cars are both rear-wheel drive. This has all-wheel drive, so it's able to put all 710 horsepower down to the ground immediately. This thing takes off like you would not expect. I also love the view out over the hood. You've got that massive power dome to fit the Hemi V8. It just looks really, really substantial. Alcantara on the headliner, and I love the fact that you can customize these interiors as much as you can. Now, one thing I would like is the only option for the dash area is black. If you could customize the front of the vehicle as well to match the seat color, I think that would be pretty awesome. Man, this thing is comfortable, it's fast, it's loud. I think it actually has kind of the exact right exhaust volume. Usually I want things to be louder, but they did a good job of having the exhaust penetrate into the cabin, but at the same time, you don't have too much wind noise, and then the exhaust isn't too quiet, which is a hard feat, especially with emission standards getting more and more stringent. Let's put the thing back into track mode, shall we? Flick some downshifts. Wow. So this is actually a pretty cool opportunity to see the different specs available with the Jailbreak program. We've got a beautiful custom purple color in front of us, a nice silver to the left, and then a ton of cars to our left. We're in a large convoy driving to Death Valley of various different specs. So you can really customize this exactly the way you would like. And I love the way that purple one's set up with a white interior. It looks absolutely insane. There we go, nice green spec. Different stripe options as well. Look at this white with red, looks fantastic. Surrounded by Jailbreak Durangos in every single direction. That is incredible. We're going on our Durango drive, and meanwhile, these guys are going on their, I don't even know what that is. Look at those things. Little tricycle motorcycles with a little cart behind them for luggage. Look at the quad exhaust. That's crazy. How awesome is this? Blasting into the mountains in a whole bunch of Durango Hellcat Jailbreaks. You know, I've seen some people talk about the suspension being too harsh on the Durango Hellcat, but I actually vehemently disagree. I think it rides super nice. This is the perfect long distance bomber across the country. We're going for a 300-mile road trip today, and that's gonna be an absolute breeze. I mean, we've got cooled seats, heated seats. The seats themselves are super comfortable. You could last a really long time in these, and I think the suspension soaks up bumps very, very well, while also being able to go into track mode and have limited body roll and actually be able to rip this thing around corners. The steering feel is also really impressive. Better than I was expecting by a long shot, and I love how the wheel feels in your hands. The Alcantara is fantastic. The only improvement I'd make with the wheel is, and this has been the same since basically the Hellcat came out back in 2015, the paddles, while they look nice, they're a teeny bit flimsy. They kind of move around a little bit, although they do feel like pieces of metal. That'd be a super easy fix, kind of very small gripe there. But look at this. What a spectacular day. think it's time for a couple downshifts. Oh my God. And the transmission is honestly a dream. 8-speed automatic. Normally, with a conventional automatic, shifts are a little bit slow and lackluster, but man, the ZF transmission in this is really instantaneous, especially with the upshifts. It just, the second you click the paddle, it shifts, which is pretty fantastic in a 3-row SUV. I mean, it's not a supercar, but many elements of this actually do feel like a supercar. 710 horsepower, a super fast transmission, good steering response. Man, I really, really like this thing. Man, the high-speed stability of this thing is nuts. It just effortlessly climbs to whatever speed your heart desires. And just, some of these roads out here are very straight, but they're not the smoothest. And the suspension just eats the bumps, giving you confidence to just blast this through the canyons and on the highway really confidently. And the Brembo brakes are phenomenal as well. Despite it being a bigger vehicle, obviously it's a 3-row SUV, it can stop from 60 miles an hour to 0 in 103 feet, which is actually good for a sports car, let alone an SUV. And by comparison, the Escalade V that starts at $161,000, which costs 2 of these things. I mean, it's this one plus the purple one in front of us. It takes 4 feet longer to stop from 60 miles an hour, and it also takes a second longer to hit 60 miles an hour from 0. So the performance you're getting in this is actually kind of iconic that it's offered, especially in 2026, where everybody is downsizing their engines. And this is a massive, gas-hungry, supercharged V8, and I love everything about that. And it just sounds so cool. Ah, what a car. The visibility is phenomenal as well. Wow. What a road we're on, too. There's some good drivers out here. I am impressed. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Like always, please browse the channel and subscribe. I'll let you listen to the Durango Hellcat Jailbreak for the next little bit because this thing sounds too cool to have me talking over the exhaust the entire time.